interest. Dang little, but we get something, and then rather than just having it sitting there in the checking account, we have that report. Anybody want to see that? Okay. So we're solvent. We don't have any parentheses or negative numbers. We have money in the checking account. We have money in the state investment pool reserve account. Now that's a pool of money, not a pool to swim in. Okay. So yeah, we need to change that nomenclature there. Okay. Okay. Approval to pay the monthly bills for January.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we pay the January monthly bills of $25,198.47.
I second that.
Okay. Are there any additions or corrections that you see need to be made to that? Okay, hearing none, then those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Okay, motion carries. Director's report.
Just a few things. About a couple weeks ago, we conducted a survey of the middle schoolers to kind of see what kind of activities they want. And things came back: poetry nights, movie nights, quilting, knitting, any of those kind of things. So we're kind of going to tailor some of our programming around middle schoolers. And then we also had our first high school late night last Friday, because some of the concern in the community is that high schoolers don't have a place to go. So we're going to start doing once a month for the freshmen to seniors can go to the rec center from 5 to 10. And as that grows, then the number of nights that's offered will also grow with it. And we're excited. It's kind of whatever legal things the kids are into. I'm excited to help them have a space for it. So if you've ever heard of live action role playing, LARPing, I don't know. There's a video on our rec district page, but there's a group of kids who do that, and they needed a space to play it, and so now they've created an event and are helping market it, and then they're going to do it at the rec center in March. And we've also had a couple of kids say, they want pool tournaments. So it was really cool. A couple weeks ago, we had a pool tournament. Not very often can you say you had people from 17 to 71 participate. So we have a group of older guys who come in every Tuesday and Thursday morning to play pool together. So we had those guys come with the high schoolers. And so I guess it was just a really fun atmosphere, cheering each other on, that kind of thing. So we're going to do another one of those in April. So just a lot of new programs, kind of getting feedback from the kids, because parents can tell you a lot of things, but until the kids have the buy-in to want to do it, then you may not get the participation. So we're definitely seeing increased participation by getting high schoolers and middle schoolers involved. That's it.
Any questions you'd like to ask Abra about her report? Okay, I have Scotty Brown's report here. He's recreation. He sets up all the practice times and what teams we have playing. And we had six teams in volleyball, 5 to 6 age division. And boys are taking interest in volleyball since it's an Olympic sport. And if you never watched a men's volleyball tournament, you need to do that. Their waist usually is about net level, and you better get out of the way unless you want to be hit with the ball. It's big. Basketball is coming, so as the school seasons start to wind down, we kind of crank that up because it makes gym space more available. Okay, we got that. Okay, we're down to number 5, unfinished business, facility updates.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we proceed with the seasonal pool and repair the facility that we have and whatever it takes to get that pool back up in operation.
I second that motion.
Okay, so you've heard the motion that we're gonna focus on the seasonal pool to get it going again with repairs. Is there any further discussion you want to have on that?
No, I don't know what else to say. It's just, we looked at doing other things, bigger facilities. One's property, where you're gonna put it. Two is, we need to get the pool back open for the, especially for the kids, someplace to swim besides canals in the wintertime, in the summertime. They can skate in the wintertime down there. But we'd love to have a bigger facility. But one, we can't afford it at this point, and two, it takes a lot more planning. I would like to look into that in the future, but at this point in time, some of the stuff that's gone out, the $20 million, yeah, that was brought up as how much you could borrow. We were talking to the man. We had no idea where we were going, but that $20 million seems to have come out of nowhere and gone, and we've never discussed it. The three of us never have. I never have with Abra, but it's a live thing out there for some reason. So, I mean, you pay a fee. I actually pay double that because I happen to have two houses on my property. I don't want to see my fee go that high, I'll tell you.
I live here too, and same thing. So we will just table that until we get the pool done. And at that point, school, we know there's a lot of other needs. We don't want to jump anything to where it shouldn't be. So we'll table any discussion or thought of a facility at the moment and work on that seasonal.
And at this point, we don't know how much it's going to cost. We're waiting for cost estimates to come in from the architect and the, I want to say builder, but.
Yeah, Jeff Chapman from Wright Brothers Construction is going to help us with cost estimates, and they're going to be extremely accurate for our region because Wright Brothers was just awarded the new Aquatic Center Recreation Center in West Elmore County. And so they've already been researching and looking. Yeah, so we really appreciate Jeff's willingness to do that.
Truly, yes. So we need to figure it out. We want to get the pool back open at this point. Facility is not big enough. Any of you were here for the other meeting, the informational meeting. The pool facility we have now isn't big enough to enclose it. And how many bathrooms do we need if we enclose it?
Well, when we first looked at it, the problem is that once it's an indoor facility, the International Building Code, which is the building code adopted by most cities around here, once it's an indoor facility, it's classified as an assembly occupancy. Same as a theater, a church, those kind of things. And then it becomes, for deck space for the pool, one occupant for every 15 square feet of deck space. And so the pool, what aquatic centers are doing now that are indoor, they're limiting the deck space and so it's, and just the way our existing pools are laid out, there's a lot of deck space, which is real nice, including the covered patio area. But once you close that and figure so it increases both the parking and the restroom facilities and shower facilities. Just so you know, the West Elmore County Recreation Center it's going to have 18 fixtures, including men and women and urinals. And so our property just doesn't have room to even fit. Or the cost gets pretty exorbitant as well.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, further discussion? Okay, wait.
I just wanted to add, there were some questions the last meeting we had why our building, we couldn't just throw up a building comparable to what we had up there. Because of the ADA codes, meeting all of that, that automatically means we have to have more space. Those of you that have been down there know that our bathroom space was pretty limited. It's pretty tight in there. Very hard to get wheelchairs and strollers through the restrooms. And codes have changed in the 25 years since that pool was built, that building was built, as you know, back in the 50s. So there wasn't a lot to do when they did update that building. So, you know, to put up showers outside, they have to have a hot shower, no less than 90 degrees. You have to have that. So without a building being there with hot water heaters and things, that's just not, you know, capable to do without making that building bigger to meet all the codes that are in place now. So that's why the building has to be made larger than what we had to begin with. So, and the codes, I know we posted all the swimming pool stuff on the website, on our Facebook rebuild. So there's lots there you can look through and go through and see what all the codes are that we have to meet now, and the ADA codes, which really change a lot of what we have.
We were gonna print it for everybody tonight, however, it's 30 pages long, front and back, so you can go home and look at it online. But there are a lot of requirements that we have to meet.
Yeah, and related to the size requirement, the existing pool building was about 1,100 square feet. They code, all kinds of codes, mechanical, electrical. For a new pool building, just the equipment room is 900. And so it's.
And our stuff was pretty squeezed into the basement, which had stairs that wouldn't pass OSHA codes, if any of you had ever been down there. And it was very hard to work on any of the equipment down there. Everybody that we had to come in to work on equipment was like, it was not set up very well. So having to put it in the right configuration would be much easier.
Okay, so I want to add a little bit here to this. So to solidify, validate, whatever word you want to use there, the $500 yearly fee is off the table with this motion. Okay, does everybody understand that?
No.
Okay, it is off the table because we're going just to a seasonal pool, no big building, no basketball courts, none of that. We're just going to fix what we had and repair and get to that. So the $500 a year fee is off the table. It really wasn't on there anyway. It was a dream. And it would be like driving through New Plymouth and you drive by Truck Stops building there, you know, I mean, that would be the idea. Where would we put that, you know, and parking and all that. So that's off the table. I want you to understand that it's not an option that we're going to vote on right here. We're voting on basic, seasonal, uncovered, fixed pool that meets ADA and the best as possibly can, the parking and all of that. So you understand what our motion is.
Everybody, yes?
Yeah. Do we have a cost on that?
We do not, because there was not a decision made in the last meeting, so that was today's meeting. And the last meeting wasn't even an option to make a decision. It was just an informational meeting. And so today's meeting, based on a decision, will go to the architect, to the design, to everybody to get those costs for us.
What is the cost of repairing a pool?
Well, I'm not really sure what that is. We've got some estimates from some engineers that have done some work. And for the building, we haven't really forced that issue because we don't know what it is that we wanted to begin with, to start with. And so now we're going to have to do our research on that.
But didn't you preface this by saying that you wanted the priority was to get the pool going?
Yes.
So is that part of the repairing process?
To repair the existing pool that's in the ground and just put up a new pool house, or what?
I'm not sure because I'm new to this and trying to find out.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So when you said that, hey, our goal is to repair the pool. So then I asked, what is the cost of repairing the pool?
Okay. So we have no pool house. We have a pool there with pipe sticking out of one end of it, so that's gonna take some repair. And there's a question about whether it needs to be replastered in 3 or 4 years. If it needs to have that done, then it is my opinion that that should be taken care of now while we're in the messed up, broken down, dysfunctional place that we are, and build back and go from there.
So is the process for this first phase, that I call phase 1 right here, to repair the pool and put a building in? Something to function there? You have to have a building
Yes,
right there? And is this gonna be a permanent building or just a temporary type structure?
permanent building,
So it's gonna be permanent for that particular pool?
yes,
Gotcha. And what is the cost of that ballpark?
no idea.
That's
No
what
idea.
we're-
So
that's
this
what
is
we're-
something that you're hoping to get done between now and pool opening?
Well, between now and the next meeting.
Right.
That's
And is there a separate meeting that takes place to discuss this?
We talked about, well, I actually maybe talked to Abra, or, I thought about that if we get that information before the next meeting, we would like to hold another special meeting to be simply informational. Again, there will be no voting, no anything. But we want to make sure that we're as transparent with everybody as we can be. There are no secrets. We have no hidden agenda. We live here. This is our community. I love Emmett. I have no hidden agenda. I want our community to be as good as it can. And with hidden agendas and not transparent, that can't happen. So once we know, that information will be shared.
Thank you.
So, yes, and you can reach out to any of us at any time and we'll tell you what we know.
Thank you.
May I ask her name, please, so I can put it in the?
Joe Morton.
So the first phase is gonna be.
Just a minute,
Okay.
Ernest Walker. Would you consider putting out a request for formal proposals from different architects that would give you an idea based on what the necessities are that would comply with ADA and all the other codes? That way, there'll be some competition as far as getting the best quality product for a reasonable amount of money.
No, we've decided to use buildings.
yeah,
So
As
just
a
gonna go
board.
with somebody you know, or what? It's.
So
it'll be-
I have a question back at you, I'm gonna be the devil's advocate. So we've been in trouble because we've been paying somebody. So if I go to 5 different builders, then people are gonna say, well, how come you didn't just use who has known all along what's going on, and now you're paying all these people? So, do you have somebody in mind? Do you
No.
have somebody,
No, it's just
Yeah.
a generally accepted way
It
of doing
absolutely is.
business in bigger cities.
In doing that, of course, we are gonna have to start from scratch with whomever, all of the people. So we have been working with specific people who know exactly what's going on, and so that was the decision that was made to use them,
And they're local.
and they are local. Thank you for that. It is important for us to keep what we can local. So,
Is it customary for the architect to build up the plans and then get 3 proposals on it?
Well, you're talking about the bid process.
Yes.
Since it's a public works
Since it's a
project,
public works.
it'll have to go to bid and they'll have to have public works license and all those kind of things. Right, yeah. And I think in some instances where it's design build, you can have requests for proposals and consider 3 design build, that way. But when you put it out broadly for any licensed contractor with public works license, you get better prices and we're talking a 5,000 square foot, maybe 5,500 square foot building. There's houses up on the bench that are bigger than that. So when you start complicating the process by saying, well, let's put this out for proposals and this out for proposals. This size building, quite frankly, you're gonna have very few people interested with that kind of process, especially in Emmett.
they don't have time for small.
Yeah, they don't have time for the smaller stuff, but this way we get the broadest and the most input for bids, in a possible way.
So it will be put out to bid,
It will be put out for bid.
Not the architect part.
not the architect part, but the bids on actually building it will be put out to bid.
They bonded and public.
I am Sandy Starkovich.
Back in the corner.
Okay, sir?
Do you already have money in reserve to pay for any of this, or is the full cost going to be raised from new fees?
We've had some money come in through fundraisers, grants, and that kind of thing, and we specifically on purpose with the intent of spending that money for just the pool and the things that related to the pool. So that's where the fees that we have spent so far are, they're not from the regular budget process. And we haven't paid for all the things that we've incurred. Some of that will have to come, some of that have to come later.
All right, so you're saying that there will be new fees imposed in order to pay for all this?
Yes.
Yeah, they're not gonna just give their time and their engineering skills necessarily to us.
Well, no, I mean, obviously not, but I was just wondering if you'd already been saving money for this, or is the bulk of it gonna have to be paid for by new fees?
We have been saving money for it.
Yeah, and we haven't spent much this year on the pool. I mean, as far as labor and upkeep and the heating of the water and electricity and those things. So we do have a little. It's not going to pay for the pool, if that's the question you're asking.
Well, I'm just trying to get an idea of how big a hit we're gonna be expecting when we finally put all of this together. We heard the $500 a year number for the other thing, which you've quickly put down, but I don't know if we're going to be looking at what, 400, 300, 200, or another $100 a year.
Unfortunately, until the next meeting, when we have those numbers, because we haven't even seen them, we really don't know. We would love to say, gosh, and we're going to build a pool for $100, but we know that's not going to happen. We would love to say, we're going to put a pool and a pool house in for $100 have to be met. Not going to happen either. So last few weeks of my life, I'm not about to give you a number. Not going to happen. So yes, once we get that information.
The folks around here, are you open to just canceling the whole? Because people aren't willing to pay the extra fees.
That is an option. That is one of the options on the table. Nothing. We are going to give back every grant we've received. We're going to give back every bit of money and nothing for our community. So yes, that is an option, and an option that we've acknowledged from the start, knowing that it could be. Right today, we've made the motion, and this is our plan to move forward. Doesn't mean that can't be changed. We're not going to go and do something that is going to put anybody, we know there's fixed incomes. Again, we live here. These are our friends. These are people we work with. These are our kids. This is our community. And if we thought that really it was going to raise somebody's taxes or the fee from $53 to $400, we're going to have a long conversation, because we aren't going to impose anything like that on somebody. It's just not something that we want to do, or we're going to do without a lot of thought consideration. So please know that, and know that as soon as we have those numbers, then we can move forward with any other decision that needs to be made. But please trust us to know. Now, sir, really quick before we go, we need, if everybody can, we need your name to put in the records, in the minutes.
James Dan.
And if you can, before you start asking your questions, yes, and then I need to make sure that everybody has signed the sheet if you've spoken, because we want to make sure that anybody who has had a question, you're obviously interested, and we want to make sure to get you out all the information we can. So if you're going to ask a question, please make sure you sign up on the sheet. Okay, thank you. Terry
began. My question is, of the just under $60 that we pay annually in our 54, just under 60, 54. How much of that goes to the pool, supporting the pool, versus other rec district activities? Do we have that number?
I don't think
I don't have my budget right in front of me. Our sport programs There's a fee for that, so parents pay $30 or $40 for late for sports, which when you look over the hill, they're paying $90, $100 for basically the same thing. So all of you who supplement the rec district, you are, making sure that kids are able to afford to play sports, so keep that in mind. So those overall, we hope that they're pretty close to paying for themselves through the fees with shirts, equipment, all that. The pool, it's hard to say because we were dealing with a 65-year-old building and, 30-year-old pools. So obviously the maintenance and, all of that stuff and repairs was higher than a new pool would be. We also, Shauna brought up a good point the other day. So we budget about $120,000 in expenses for the pool, and then it brings in 30. So obviously we are all supplementing the pool. In fact, every community in the world who has a public pool has chosen to supplement the pool. Because again, you provide a place where kids can go in the summer, learn swimming lessons, all that kind of stuff. Shauna pointed out, I think I blocked it out at some point, but a few years ago, when minimum wage went from $5 to $7.25, so our face guards, if they were at $7.25, when they return, we kind of give them a bump up, as a bonus for coming back, because you want consistency, allows for better customer service. They know what they're doing. And so when all of a sudden the $5, first time guard bumped up to $7.25, that kind of bumped, everyone up a little bit. So as we got returning lifeguards every year and had that consistency, they got that little bit of a bonus. And so our the staffing cost alone is about $50,000 of that 120. And obviously there's requirements of how many people need to be, how many lifeguards you have, how many staff. Obviously you want them trained, so all that kind of stuff. So as far as, I don't remember what, so with that $54 times the 6,700 houses. So yes, on paper, it looks like, we'll just shut that down, right? But, just think about, there's just some things in the community, and 30 years ago, the city was gonna shut that pool down because they couldn't afford to maintain it. And this community stood up and created a rec district because it was that important to have a swimming pool here. So if any of you were here at that point, you all, you had that option to vote in the rec district for that reason. And that's why we feel so called to make sure we have a swimming pool, because that was the original intent of the rec district. And then all of so whatever rec the city was doing or the county was doing at that time, fell to the rec district, and that's how we've expanded to probably 1,000 participants during sports a year for kids. We're going to start putting out the counts. Shauna keeps such meticulous records. I mean, she could probably tell you how many kids came to the pool on June 3rd, 2015. So if you want to know that, she could probably tell you. So amount of the budget, a larger amount goes to the pool, but with the sheer amount of staff, the water, the electricity, the heat, all of that, it just costs more than our current rec center, or we don't have to pay to have soccer at the field. So it's one of those things where like I said, this community 30 years ago said it's that important to have a pool. So we've kind of just made sure we have that working.
With that wage increase, when that went up also, we didn't try to balance that with raising the prices at the pool. We still try to keep the prices down where it's affordable for everybody to come up. So that's why that bigger gap came, that we weren't having as much come through the front window to cover the expenses, because we kept our prices down where they were at, rather than trying to balance it by raising it up. So that was one of the things that we had talked about that I forgot to mention last time.
I know you had your hand up a minute ago. Okay, what's your name?
My name's Grant Webb. I was born in Emmett, been here my whole life, and have my own business here. I first came in here today because I was frustrated because lack of knowledge, not knowing really what was going on. And I know that there's 5 people up here, people here. I don't know how you guys feel, but I came here upset that we're spending $20 million, and I'm glad that you guys said that. I personally know almost every one of you, either from school or growing up or as a customer, and I appreciate what you guys are doing, and I feel like we're in good hands. Thank you for giving back to our community. This pool thing, when I grew up as a kid, you guys all seen the Sandlot, haven't you? That was my favorite movie growing up, and I'll tell you what, when I grew up, I played in the go-ahead field, and after practice, we got the field getting go-aheads out for 10, 20 years. You know, that's what we did growing up. I know a lot of you people have donated your time to doing that too. The biggest thing, the key to everything is honesty and knowing about what's going on, and your heart's in the right spot. I can tell everyone you got your heart in the
I
right
second
spot.
that's honorable.
It is.
You have to know that, that's an honorable thing.
I can tell every one of you are up here on the fence, and I can tell how nervous you are. So first off, guys, let's just say thank you for giving back to your community. That being said, I get people in my business come in every day wanting donations, wanting money, and I struggle myself, and I'm angry, and I want to help my community, but it hurts. So out of 5 people that come in for donations, I help 1 or 2 because I have a good heart. That being said, not one person has came into my store and said, Grant, I'm raising money to do this. Would you offer me a job to help pay for it? And if they would, I would give them double what they did. And in fact, when I heard Abra, she brought up a deal saying we're going to help the community by raising money in this pool fund. The first thing I reached out and said, Abra, thank you for all you do to our community. I would love to help you. Bring your bucket down to my store, and whatever somebody puts in it, I will match that when you do it. We raised a little bit of money, and I about had a stroke the day of it because the hospital donated, and I thought maybe I was going to have to sell my home. What I'm saying is, all these together are powerful. If we have the right heart, we can help our community. We go back to that Sandlot. That go-ahead field growing up is why I don't want to move, why I want to raise my kids here. That being said, I don't know how many of you out there are worried about money, but I'll donate my time to help. So thank you guys. And I think everybody here was a little cranky. I was cranky because when I grew up, one moral I was taught is if you want something at a young age, my family owned their own businesses since the late 40s here. If you want something, you work hard for it. If you can't afford it, save your money and work harder. I've never had help from anybody here. I've done it on my own and worked hard, and I know you guys have done the same thing. He was my shop teacher. Nick, he taught me how to swim, right? And so you know what? I want to say, you pay how many employees at this pool right now? And your budget's 50 grand. How many of you in here could pay all your bills for a family of 6 for 50 grand? So let's quit being angry about that. That's people donating their time. Next time I want to see every one of you out there swimming and getting your own tan, okay? I'm not much of a swimmer. I don't tan real well, but Nick makes my daughter and my